Hey everybody, this is Miss Jessica, and since we are all at home this week and possibly longer, I am going to do reading and stories with Miss Jessica. So you can find my videos on YouTube, and the first story is going to be One Good Deed by Terry Fields, illustrated by Deborah Melmon. Even on sunny days, Lancaster Street seemed dark and gloomy. Neighbors had not smiled at each other, or talked to each other, or helped each other. But one day, as Jake climbed his mulberry tree to pick its ripe fruit, he saw an old Mrs. Thompson outside her house next door. Suddenly he had a thought he'd never thought before. I bet she's sad. She can't climb trees. I could take her some of these delicious mulberries. When Jake arrived, Mrs. Thompson was surprised. She was delighted. She had enough fruit to make 2 mulberry pies. Then she had a thought she'd never thought before. I loved getting these mulberries. I bet Mr. Riley next door would like one of my pies. When Mrs. Thompson arrived, Mr. Riley was surprised. Mr. Riley was delighted. As he ate the delicious pies, he looked out the window and watched the kids next door playing ball. Suddenly he saw the ball land on the roof of his garage. Then he had a thought he'd never thought before. I bet I could help them. I could take my ladder and get their ball. When Mr. Riley handed them back their ball, Jeffrey and Joshua were surprised. They were delighted. As they tossed it back and forth, they saw Mr. Lee hobbling on crutches to his front door. Then they had a thought they never thought before. Mr. Lee can't rake the leaves in his yard, but we can. When the boys arrived with their rakes, Mr. Lee was surprised. Mr. Lee was delighted. Soon they were joined by Sammy Cohen from next door carrying a rake. My computer is broken, so I can't finish my homework. I'll help you rake. Then Mr. Lee had a thought he'd never thought before. I'm good at computers. Maybe I could fix Sammy's computer. When Mr. Lee arrived, the Cohens were surprised. The Cohens were delighted, and before you knew it, the computer was up and running again. When Mrs. Cohen sat down to check her email, she looked out her window and saw Ashley from next door riding a rusty old bike. Then she had a thought she'd never thought before. We have a practically new bike that Sammy has outgrown. It would be perfect for Ashley. When Mrs. Cohen arrived with the new bike, Ashley was surprised. Ashley was delighted. She rode her new bike around the neighborhood, waving and smiling and calling hello to all her neighbors. The neighbors were surprised. The neighbors were delighted. Everyone waved and smiled back. Soon, even on gray days, Lancaster Street seemed warm and sunny. How had that happened? No one knew. Not even Jake realized that it had all begun with a basket of mulberries and one good deed. The end. So at the end of the stories, I want to give you a challenge. And the challenge for today is, what is something that you can do this week to help out a friend or a neighbor or even a family member? And if you are writing and you have a writing journal, then write about it and draw a picture. And if you are just drawing pictures, then do that. And please leave a comment in the comment section of this, and I would love to hear what each one of you are doing to start one good deed in your neighborhood or in your house. And yeah, thank you, and please check back. I'm going to do more videos. Bye.